everybody. Welcome to Impossible Coin. It's your boy, Brian Cartwright, joined today by one Rockford Harrington IV.
It's not my name.
Okay. Rockford Hardington IV.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You just said the same thing twice.
First time I said Harrington.
Ugh.
Rochelio Hardley?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Really?
You're going to fight me on Rochelio?
Yes, dude. What? What is that?
It's a name.
Are you sure? That's not a name I've ever heard of.
I'm sure that there's guys out there named Rochelio.
I mean, there might be, and more power to them, but Jesus Christ, man.
Well, if you'd prefer, if it would make you happier, if it would make you warmer in the underwear place, you can be Rocky Hardy.
I'm okay with that. That's fine by me.
I am glad that I could get you warmer in the underwear place. Fans, listeners at home, I was out of office last week in an effort to try and rebalance my sleep schedule. I'm going to take a long sip of this coffee. I failed. My sleep is still fucked up.
God damn it, Brent. It's fine, whatever.
Rocky, you ever hear the podcast Harmontown?
I'm aware of Harmontown.
Okay, all right. And so you know that, the main driving selling point of Harmontown is the shockingly open nature with which Dan Harmon addresses his listeners and the sincerity and honesty coupled with, humor that kind of is catnip to those folks because they're like, well, I'm not listening to a murder podcast right now, so I'm going to listen to this, kind of fat 40-something writer have a nervous breakdown on podcast.
He doesn't do it live anymore? I thought that's what they were doing.
So it was live for years.
Yes.
And then it's still, recorded live, but just not in front of an audience.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was asking about. Because I remember that. I know he started recording it and, putting it somewhere. But, it was this dive bar that let him stand someplace and rant for an hour once a week.
Right.
And it was good stuff.
Yeah.
And people kept coming.
Yeah, it originally started in bars, which, definitely fed Harmon's problems with alcohol. And then he took it to Meltdown Comics, and they just let him bring booze anyway. Then he moved it to Dino Stamopoulos' animation studio.
That makes sense.
Known as Starburns Castle. Then the city of Los Angeles said, this place isn't cleared to have audiences in here. This is not a venue for performance. So then it was at Starburns Castle without a crowd. And Harmon actually just announced that Harmontown is going to be ending at the end of the year.
Well, low-key good for him.
Yeah. I think that's probably reflective of the fact that, he's drinking less and fucking less mannequin legs. Did you know that about him, Rocky? That he, fucks mannequin legs? Or
I've heard of an incident. I didn't know it was continuous.
Yes. He, at various points in his life, has owned a variety of mannequin legs for fucking. But anyway, this is all a segue.
Yeah.
Listener, I have been struggling with my ability to sleep for, the last... Oh, God, Rocky, what's it been, 8 to 10 weeks?
That sounds about right, yeah.
Right. And there definitely has been, some depression going on as well as with that, some, deep shit. I've been trying to, get some of this shit under control. I will continue to do so. I know this is going to sound detached in a weird way if you might not know me, but I think Rocky knows that I say this completely with sincerity, and it's not meant to sound detached and weird. I hope this has not brought down the listener experience. This show means a lot to me, and I hope it hasn't brought down the listener experience.
Okay, I think a warmer way of saying that, particularly in the underwear place, is I hope that my issues haven't made this worse for you. You make it personal.
Okay. Well, I hope my issues have not made it worse for you. Make it personal. I'm still fighting the fight on sleep. So, I think it can happen. I do. I swung into Focus on the Sleep for about 2 days, and then it fell apart. So, it's almost as if my life was haunted by a mean-spirited goose that followed me everywhere I went in an effort to fuck up my business for its own amusement.
Honk.
Yes, Rocky, honk. I hit credits on Honk the game. Couldn't come too soon because I've probably reached my personal limit with the way social media is interacting with this game.
Oh, wait, so you're not down for the full body, like, controller goose game? Where you dress up as a goose and you just, like, move like the goose and it works?
Yes, I think I'm not down.
I think one of my favorite tweets that I saw this week is like, I don't want to be a person, I just want to be a horrible goose. And I'm like, I totally get it.
Yeah. They're into that whimsy. They're into that mischief. I think that the success of this game has, expressed that there is a place in the market for more puzzle games that do not explicitly lay themselves out as puzzle games, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because if you're presented a situation where if what you know you're doing is trying to activate a Rube Goldberg in order to get a guy to, like, stub his toe, then it might chase you, the user, off. You're like, man, like, this is a Rube Goldberg. There's going to be a whole bunch of steps. Like, do I really want to go through all this work just to get this guy to stub his toe? But, like, Untitled Goose Game never says to the player, I am a puzzle game. You are going to try and solve puzzles. You are going to memorize AI routines. You are going to say, like, oh, okay, first this character goes over here and does that. If he goes over there and that item isn't there, he will instead do this. Like, the only way it really lets the player know that it is a puzzle game is through experience. It doesn't market itself as a puzzle game. Its tutorialization isn't treated like a puzzle game, but it's a puzzle game. Like, very much in the same way that, like, Hitman is. It really seems to have, like, captured a lot of people's imagination. It made me think of a character who would be perfect for this kind of game.
Is it Wario?
It is Wario.
Okay. I think a good Wario, like, esque puzzle game could be fun. Especially because it hits that same spot that the Untitled Goose Game, or sorry, the Mischievous Goose is Coming, or whatever it's called in Japan.
Right.
And Hitman is that, like, you're a character that is allowed to, like, bring misery upon other people, but in a fun, goofy way.
Right.
I think that's the spot that this really hits with people who play games, or people who don't play games. Like, they just see this goose fucking up shit, and it looks like fun because it's silly, and people want to get in on that.
I think part of the renaissance that Hitman has experienced, since 2016 has to do with the fact that, in Hitman 2 and the last Hitman, all of 47's targets are inarguably terrible people. Everyone in the missions that, like, 47 is killing are bad people. It used to be that, like, 47 was 47. He was a hitman. Like, sometimes his targets are bad people, sometimes they're not. But somebody figured out, oh, it feels bad to solve an elaborate puzzle to murder a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Persona 5 also really leans on that heavily.
Right.
Because, like, it is a standard JRPG. It is a super stylish, very well soundtracked JRPG, but its gameplay loop is a standard-ass JRPG with, like, a collection mechanic.
Right.
And it's work, and it takes time. But one of the things that it does is that, like, every time you're put into a particular situation, like, hey, you need to go into this dungeon and fuck up this dude's shit because X, Y, and Z. And, like, X, Y, and Z is because this person is a jackass that does not deserve to see the light of day, and you're going to put him away forever. And so, like, that impetus to, like, ruin this person's life is so strong that a lot of people have been willing to roll through this very basic gameplay loop.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the music and the style helps.
So, please, more puzzle games where we get to be rascals.
Rascals are in right now. I'm still really mad about, what was the project called? Amy Hennig's thing? Star Wars?
Oh God, Ragtag.
Ragtag! Oh, that was gonna be sick.
Yeah. Here's my quick pitch, Nintendo. The game is called Waluigi Smashed, past tense.
Oh God.
And basically...
It's already a porno parody. I can see it.
Nope, it is not. It is a game where you as Waluigi have a central goal in each little puzzle environment that you enter, which is to misplace other characters' smash envelopes.
No, that's actually kind of great.
Yes. So, like, you go into an environment, and you're like, there's fucking Kirby, there's that tree that eats everything, that, you know, sucks stuff up and, you know, drops the apples.
Also, rip John Kirby.
Yeah. I'm gonna put the envelope over here so Kirby can't find his envelope. And, like, if you have a whole game where you are Rascal Waluigi misplacing everybody's smash envelopes, it is a license to print money. Because it is a cool opportunity to use a variety of IP, you know? Mm-hmm. And you're still not putting Waluigi in Smash, so that way, like, for all of those people out there who are, like, no rest till the Waluigi is... Like, it's like, well, then still fuck you guys. It's a cool way to kind of, like, play off of the weird outcry. Like, the people who are like, there are purple chairs behind Sakurai, Waluigi confirmed.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was just goofy. That was a straight-up troll. Like, god damn it.
I think this is like a way to get something out of that. Like, also, like, considering that Nintendo is now obviously more comfortable with the idea of letting indie developers play with their IP in, like, controlled environments, why not just have House do it? Have the Goose People do it. They've obviously got this shit down, you know? Just be like, okay, you know, Waluigi smashed. Fucking do this thing. You know, misplace the smash envelopes.
Could be a nice little, like, $10 game. I'm about it.
Let's say it's more a $20 game.
I gotta see more out of it, I guess. Depends on how...
I mean, Untitled Goose Game is already a $20 game, which is tearing it up.
Yeah, well, like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, I feel like the game would need to be a bit more intricate than just misplacing smash envelopes.
I think that the way you structure it is like Cat and Toad Treasure Tracker, where there's like there's your core goal in each level, which is always misplace the smash envelope. But you have like ancillary goals in each level, which are the same in each level, which might be make the character slip and fall. Like, you can always succeed at a side goal by making that character slip and fall. Like, make Mario slip and fall. Make Samus slip and fall.
Make Donkey Kong slip and fall on a banana peel. Super embarrassing.
Right. But then there will be, like, ancillary goals which are different in each environment. Then that's your gravy. Like, it might be that when you get to, you know, Luigi's level, it might be steal his ghost hunting backpack or something. Like, or it could be make Donkey Kong and King K. Rool run into each other. You know, something like that. Like, you create, like, specialized goals which are based on the individual environments that you're playing in as well. So, you know, main goal, ancillary goals that are always the same, and then ancillary goals which are different. Like, it gives people, like, opportunity to try and get the diamond rating on every level.
I mean, that's a vibe. I went for it on Sayonara, and, like, it was a good time.
So, this new Hitman level, man. The best Hitman levels are always ones that just keep on giving when it comes to their complexity. As you dig in, you're like, man, there's a lot here. This Hitman level does a few different things really, really well. It calls to mind architecturally and the way the level is laid out, a few other, like, very well-loved Hitman levels. So it's this tropical island, but there's parts of this tropical island resort where when you're wandering around this tropical island resort, feel like you're wandering around a hospital level from the 2016 game. And then there's parts of the level where it feels like you're wandering around the mansion from Sapienza, which is like probably the most well-known.
So is it like more callback or like homage?
I think this is probably like intentional storytelling callback, because the cut scene at the end of the level, because this level falls directly after the last level that they released, which was the bank. And there has been an ongoing story, like throughout Hitman 2016 and Hitman 2, which has been building throughout the game. The 2 DLC levels for Hitman 2 continue that story immediately. They just followed up immediately after the last moment in the last level in the game. And there was a character that 47, who doesn't even normally allow himself to like engage with emotion, chose to trust, who betrays him in a big way in the resort level.
That's fucked.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the like architectural motifs and choices throughout the level kind of like call to mind moments throughout the last 2 games of like hashtag great anime betrayals. And so it's like one of those things where like as you're wandering around this environment, looking at the way it's like physically structured, it's foreshadowing the betrayal by what it is referencing, which is cool. Environmental storytelling for people who played a lot of Hitman. In talking about like the way that they choose to structure levels, one of the things that the folks at IO have said is that their levels are generally one of 2 kinds of structures. They are either fortresses or snail houses.
I'm sorry, snail houses?
You know how a snail's shell is like a spiral? It gets smaller and smaller, it goes in?
Okay.
Yeah, like that. There being like things in the architecture that force the player to wrap in on their own path in concentric circles, either by creating areas of like trespass or camera placement, or putting, enforcers for particular costumes. So if you can kind of corral players into like increasingly smaller concentric paths, you can create situations where they have specific encounters, which they call like snail house design. Yes. And in this level, there's a snail house within a snail house, and there's also a fortress. So like the level has got like all kinds of like interesting design ideas going on it. And the dynamic weather change stuff is a lot of fun too, because all of the NPCs have entirely different routines once the storm is going in earnest. So like you start the level and it's plain as day, there's not a cloud in the sky and whatever. There's different things that like trigger a storm to roll in. Once the storm starts to roll in, it takes about 5 to 15 minutes to do so. The amount of time it takes to actually finish rolling in is randomized. But once the storm has rolled in, or various characters' behavior changes, and so you're like, oh, I used to be able to count on this guy being here at this time, but now he's doing something else because of the storm. Yeah. And one of the things that causes the storm to start to roll in is killing 2 out of 3 of the main targets in the level.
Okay.
Yeah. Considering that it takes 5 to 15 minutes for the storm to roll in, if you hustle killing that 3rd target in the level, you can still rely on everybody to still be running the same routines.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, you certainly can't. Also, the storm will just start to naturally roll in after you've been in the level like an hour, just wandering around. It'll just start to roll in anyway. It'll be like, well, fuck you. You're like, you've been here an hour. Here's the storm. Also found out that the storm starts to roll in if you pick up 10 tourist pamphlets in the level.
Okay.
You can find these little pamphlets about the tropical island, and if you pick up 10 of them, the storm rolls in. If you steal every key in the level, like you're like, okay, every place where somebody has put down a key to a building, I've picked up the key and taken it, the storm will roll in. So like there's different things that trigger the storm. That's also become kind of like a fun thing, where if you're thinking about, I need this person here and this person here, and I need this person here at this particular time, figuring out when to trigger the storm has also like become like a cool part of like developing paths around this level. You're like, okay, I'm going to kill this guy, I'm going to kill this guy, and then I'm going to grab this thing, which will means that by the time I get to this place, the storm should be in, which means I'll have access to this person and this person at this location.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a good time. But Rocky. Rocky.
Yes.
We got to talk Good Place.
Okay. Good Place is good. I'm excited for how this season's playing out. Are you going to watch the miniseries where they're planning how they pick the 4 people they send to the medium place trial or whatever?
Definitely. I haven't dug in yet, but it's one of those things where I know that when I get to the end of this series, I won't regret it only running 4 seasons at all. But it's one of those things where, like, as it's going, I'm definitely having that whole, like, oh man, this is going to end. This is going to end. Oh man. It's so good. I loved the fact in the most recent episode, we got treated to 90 seconds on, like, why solipsism is intellectually lazy.
I think it was really good. To be honest, there's a lot of, like, philosophies that work out that way. Nihilism and hedonism are, like, ones that really stick to me. But I like the way that they're using Simone in general. That, like, Simone diving straight into solipsis makes sense intellectually, especially given, like, her field in, like, neurobiology. But it's underdeveloped, which would, like, show why, like, Simone may not be the best person. Like, I could have seen a run of this show in which they use Simone, who is not necessarily a bad person, like John or Brent, but is kind of, like, just doing what everyone else is doing, and turns out that's not enough. But we've already made that point, or rather, I didn't make that point. Michael Schur and the cast of The Good Place already made that point nearing the end of season 3. One of my favorite bits is when they have Maya Rudolph returning from, like, Earth, and she's like, yeah, so I went down there, and it's like, turns out I'm black, and they don't like that there. And, like, they do a small bit about the Chick-fil-A sandwich, which I'm really happy about having an alternative to, by the way. But, well, it is October. The sandwich will probably be back by now. Who knows? But the idea that they took Simone, actually all 3 of them, John, Brent, and Simone, are different from our initial cast of Tahani, Chidi, Jason, and Eleanor, in that they are people who have a strong personal understanding of how the world works. Everything works in favor of Brent for reasons that he is not responsible for, but that's something that he willingly accepts. John is a person that acknowledges that the world is bad and grimy, and if I'm bad and grimy and succeed in it, who cares? And Simone is a person who just finds out how to be right as soon as possible. Like tries to find the shortest route to getting to the correct answer from her perspective. And that's enough to get her through the world. And all 3 of them are arguably successful people in the real world, but are, by nature of the show, will not be successful in the afterlife. And so having these people in contrast to, like, our original cast, which is Chidi, who's a person who's an ethical philosopher who may not have lived a very ethical life, or he may not have lived the good life, is what I'd say. Eleanor Shellstrop is, like, straight up a disaster person. Jason's also a disaster person, but mostly to his own detriment.
Right.
And Tahani is a person that was ultimately unfulfilled despite the success that she so-called had in that world. That she, like, knew all the famous people or anyone that, like, quote-unquote would be worth knowing, and she was still unhappy and unfulfilled. But the other three, these new people, they were fulfilled in the world. Simone, like, had a fully, like, realized career as a neurobiologist. John was perfectly happy being a gossip columnist, and Brent got away with whatever he wanted and was never punished for anything that he ever did. And, like, these three being here in contrast to the original cast, I think is really interesting, and having them clash specifically over Solopsis with Chidi and Simone are things that I'm looking forward to continuing throughout the show.
I think that something else which they've done, which is an incredibly difficult task. Mm-hmm. If you had asked me how to accomplish this narratively, I would have said it's impossible and a fool's errand. But Michael Schur is an incredible talent, and all of the writers are incredible talents. And I guess this is a real talent to the guy who's playing Brent as well. If you had asked me how to create a character that is going to narratively call to mind Donald Trump.
Yeah, I get that.
But at the same time, make us, the viewer, interested in a redemption arc for that character. Like, how do you invest us in wanting to see someone like that get better? I can tell you that I, as a human being that exists on this earth, have no interest in seeing actual Donald Trump get better. None. Whatever. Fuck him. Dump him in the sea. But, like, Brent, who, like, has been given, like, dialogue which has been designed very, very, very carefully to, like, evoke Trump's level of privilege. There, you know, there's a line where he's like, after 18 years, I grew
a $90 million company
to a $94 million company.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God, that's perfect. That's absolutely fucking perfect. That is, you know, that is, you know, Trump's self-congratulation over his father's business to a T. Like, to a T.
No, wait. I think my favorite Brent line from that "This Was Your Life" section was when he said, I went to Princeton, but hey, I got in there on my own merit, like my father and his father before me.
Yeah. Yeah, you see. And I just got this guy's name just so that way we can give credit where credit is due. Benjamin Coldyke is the guy playing Brent. And, like, he has to find a way to deliver that dialogue in a way that, like, sells Brent's connection to, like, the modern zeitgeist and, like, he's a kind of person that exists in the world, while also still wanting you to see that character redeemed. And it's just like, God, what an incredibly difficult task as an actor. I mean, and I think that's probably something that, like, The Good Place does in general, which is a whole bunch of shit that is really hard. Like, it is a show that does not shy away from any fucking task because of its difficulty.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, if I wasn't in love with Tahani / you know, Jamila Jamil, I could totally understand that she is, like, a super vapid, completely self-involved person, but they made her into a lovable character that's capable of change. And I think that's the whole show. You know, that, like, everyone's capable of change.
And if you were to tell me that a character finding out that Blake Bortles had been cut by the Jaguars.
Dude, I love that they keep, like, coming back to, like, the real NFL on this one. Like, that is top tier shit. I love it so much.
Like, that, like, finding out that Blake Bortles had been cut was going to be a major emotional beat for this show. Which I think that we all knew that, like, that shoe had to drop at some point.
Yes.
Because, like, actual real-world Blake Bortles was cut by the Jags during the first season of the show, but because Jason is dead,
He doesn't know.
He's
not in the world.
Yeah, which is why we got such great moments as, like, him tossing Molotov cocktails while shouting Bortles. But the idea of this, like, is it a breakup or is it a not? Because Janet says, I don't think we can be together while the experiment is going on. You know, like, it's a very, like, tender scene, but it's like, how do we make this, like, a very emotionally raw scene
for Jason? Yeah,
like, more, like, just funny as shit, more Jason, but even make it sadder. And it's just like, Janet's like, you know what, this whole scene is about being frank and honest with you, and if I'm being frank and honest with you, I need to let you know that Blake Bortles has been cut. And I'm like, oh my god, that's it's so fucking perfect.
Oh man, no, I really liked how, like, Jason seemed to learn a lesson.
Yep.
This week.
Oh god, like, yes.
He was, like, telling him, like, Michael was talking to him at, like, a post-breakup, and it's like, oh, so you mean, like, wanting to do something isn't always a good enough reason to do something? And he's just like, and he touched him, like, so gingerly, like, that he was so proud of him, and it's just like, wow, I wish someone had taught me that when I was alive. It's like, people tried.
Mostly judges. And once again, you know, back to just, like, the absolutely fantastic work by all the actors on that show. In the closing scene. Also, can I tell you how much I love the fucking, like, weird obelisk that the medium place accountant is in?
Oh, yeah, dude, it's so good. Tell me about it, man.
Oh, God, I love that thing. Because it's, like, it's the most, like, Doctor Who shit, which is just sitting in, like...
in the living room. Like,
in the living room, and because of, like, when Mindy St. Clair died, like, her house has this, like, very, like, 80s sitcom vibe.
Right.
Which is, I think, also very, very deliberate and very intentional. So we've got this house which has this very 80s sitcom vibe. You know, very, like, fucking, like, Who's the Boss, Kirk Cameron, Michael J. Fox, up your ass kind of feeling. And there's this fucking obelisk sitting in the room, and they're having this meeting, and they're talking about the people, and they've got their dry erase board with pictures on it. And, like, Jason is sitting there all fucking bummed out, and, like, Eleanor puts her hand up for a high five and says to Jason, I know you're feeling low, bro, but don't leave me hanging. And he goes, you're right. I know the code. As if it's like a solemn law that when somebody looks for a high five, it must be responded to. Just like...
yeah, man, it's the bro oath, or the broth, if you will.
Yeah, just like, I know the code. And just like... one of the most, like, well-developed fantasy worlds I have ever fucking seen. And with such an interest in, like, earnestly exploring the human condition and, like, moral philosophy. Like, we are not worthy of this fucking show, my friend. It's amazing.
Hey, man. Like, they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to do it, but they did it for us.
Yep.
And we should be thankful.
Yeah. I certainly am. We feasted. We feasted.
You feasting.
Also, speaking of feasting, Rock, you may notice in the show doc that one of my items is in all caps.
Yeah, it's screaming at me, dog.
And it says, hello, everybody, and welcome to the greatest week in the history of our sport. So... there probably hasn't been a week as important to pro wrestling since Chris Benoit killed himself and his family.
Oh, shit.
But that's the dark path. The less dark path is there probably hasn't been a week as important to the history of pro wrestling since WCW went out of business in 2001. So on Wednesday was the kickoff of the Wednesday Night Wars, something which has not existed for, like, at this point, damn near 20 years. TNT had the first episode of AEW Dynamite, and it was up against NXT on USA, and it was some crazy wild shit. And AEW Dynamite pulled in 1.4 million viewers, and was the second highest rated show in the 18 to 49 demo that was on television at the time. Right behind, like, Major League Baseball wildcard game. And NXT pulled in 890,000 viewers. And of those, most of them were older than 50.
All right.
It appears to be that what AEW Dynamite has uncovered, it's not that wrestling has been cold in the US, it's that WWE is cold and chased off people who are young. That people have an interest and a willingness to watch wrestling. They just have no interest or willingness to engage with WWE, which is a position I can completely understand. It was the show, Dynamite was great. It was really, really wonderful. It was like light and fast. You know, like when Beth and I sat down to watch it, when the show is over, she said, like, it's already over. Like, there are definitely times where, like, Beth and I have sat down to watch and, like, been by the end, like, oh, God, can this thing just end? But, you know, the first episode of Dynamite was, like, just so light, so fast, so well-paced. We never felt it drag at any point. One of the things that was on the first episode was their first title bout for their women's title.
Okay.
And it was Nyla Rose versus Riho. The match was won by Riho. And so it was kind of like them saying, like, hey, are you the kind of nerd out there that likes the Joshi wrestling? Well, here's our first champ. And Riho's fantastic. She's a wholesome queen.
She does look like a wholesome queen.
Yeah. She's 22. She's been wrestling professionally since she was 9 years old.
Wait, what? How?
Is it mother, father, I want to be a professional wrestler? So she's been wrestling at 22 longer than a lot of people who are 10 years older than her.
She's probably already an expert. I think 13 years is probably enough. Mm-hmm. That's about right.
Mm-hmm. Lots of other just, like, really cool moments on the show. Jon Moxley putting Kenny Omega through a glass table. Fantastic match between Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. And it felt like something that I could comfortably recommend to somebody if they were curious about wrestling and were just looking for something, like, you know, easy to access and were like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm curious about wrestling.
Sure.
I would be happy to be like, hey, dude, like, TNT, you know, Wednesday nights, Dynamite is something which is, like, easy to jump into. There's something for everybody. It is a great way to get in on this. So Friday night, because I said this is the most important, greatest week in the history of our sport, WWE SmackDown going to Fox. Wrestling going to broadcast television and being handled by the sports department of that network is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
They had announced ahead of time that, like, The Rock was coming back for the premiere and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so what does this look like? What kind of choices does WWE make for the premiere of SmackDown on Fox? And things that they do for the premiere of SmackDown on Fox include having Brock Lesnar squash Kofi Kingston in a title bout in 6.5 seconds.
Can he still do that?
It felt obnoxious because you've tried to establish Kofi as this, like, strong champ ever since WrestleMania. I just picture, like, Vince McMahon somewhere in, like, his ivory tower wearing, like, $1 million silken custom clan robes, going like, here in my world, we can appeal to one ethnic demo at a time. Feed me oysters.
The roar is crucial.
Yeah. At the end of the show, they had Rey Mysterio, who Brock had beaten up on Monday, come out. But it's not enough to just have Rey Mysterio come out to be like, well, fuck you, Brock, you beat me up. Because Vince seems to think that, like, the only measure of skill is the size of a dude. And despite the fact that, like, Rey Mysterio is literally an all-time great wrestler, it's impossible that Rey Mysterio would ever be equipped to face Brock Lesnar. An audience would never accept that. So Rey Mysterio came out with his newfound ally, new WWE signee, Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champ who beat Brock Lesnar, is now signed to WWE. And Cain got in the ring and attacked Brock. And they're like, oh, by God, you know, like...
Oh, by God.
they've already announced when Kane and Brock are going to be fighting. Of course, it's in fucking Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
You know, got to get that blood money. But that's also somehow not even the worst thing they did on this show. Because they also had like this angle where sitting in the front row of the show was Tyson Fury, the boxer. Do you know who Tyson Fury is?
No.
Okay. Heavyweight boxer. He's fought Vladimir Klitschko a few times. He's kind of like in WBA and like ring boxing. He has been a meaningful player in the heavyweight scene for years, but also he's kind of like run out most of the gas on his importance. Like, he is an older boxer, which means he is now a slower boxer. And it's obvious he's looking to transition to a new way to make money. And it appears to be that Tyson Fury found that new way to make money, which is to get hired by WWE in order to wrestle Braun Strowman. But let me hit you with some like hot Tyson Fury quotes. I'm not sexist. I believe a woman's best place is the kitchen and on her back. That's my personal belief. Making me a good cup of tea, that's what I believe.
Reminds me of Charles Barkley.
There are only 3 things in this world that need to be accomplished before the devil comes home.
Okay.
One of them is homosexuality being legal in countries. One of them is abortion. The other is pedophilia.
All right.
I'm not done. I got 2 more hot Tyson Fury quotes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By giving the homosexuals rights.
Oh, shit.
Then within 10 years, people will claim sexual relations with animals is their right.
That's really old and lame.
If this hot stuff about women's rights, gay rights, trans rights isn't enough for you, Tyson Fury is also here to let you know, listen to the government, follow everybody like sheep, and be brainwashed by the Zionist Jewish people who own all the banks and the TV stations.
We need to cancel Tyson Fury's YouTube account, dog.
Yeah.
Like, just take his whole email address. Take him off the internet.
I mean, I've got a great idea. How about we don't give this fucking guy a platform? And, like, when WWE announced, like, Tyson Fury will be on Raw on Monday to confront Braun Strowman, and we're giving him a live mic, and you don't know what that means, they're basically saying Tyson Fury might say some, like, horrible shit. Tune in to find out if Tyson Fury says horrible shit.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And just this, like, idea that, like, which is them saying we went into this deal with Tyson Fury with our eyes open. I have a pretty near endless amount of patience for somebody being like, hey, we went into business with somebody and we fucked up. We didn't know something about them and now we're letting them go. I'm like, okay, shit happens. You know, you signed somebody into some kind of professional capacity. You found something out about them. And now you're like, now that we know that, we think better of it. You know, a good example is SNL and Shane Gillis. Like, Shane Gillis comes fully into focus as a trash person, and SNL fires Shane Gillis. And there were a lot of people on Twitter who were like, well, why was he ever hired by SNL in the first place? And I'm like, okay, look, shit happens. You know, like, I'm here to tell you, just as somebody who works in risk, it's sometimes hard to collect enough data to know all of your stress points.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. So, which is why if somebody finds out that somebody is garbage and then lets them go, like, I'm almost in every situation willing to just give that a pass because it's like, okay, like, once you had the data, you made the right call. But putting out, like, promotional material which says, oh, we knew damn well who Tyson Fury was and hired his ass anyway. You know, that's where, like, I start to, like, get pissed off. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Sure, yeah, what the fuck is this, WWE? Vince McMahon?
Yeah. Between that and the Saudi blood money, and I just don't think that there's... And I want to stress that this is a choice for me Because I also know that there's a lot of people out there who say that there is no such thing as ethical consumption under late capitalism. Now, I personally think that that's lazy. But I also know that there are people who believe that sincerely.
Sure.
So I'm going to say, what I'm going to stress here is this choice is a choice for me. There's really no way anymore that I can consume WWE's product at all. Even if we were to take it out of the mix that, like, most of it is bad, if we were to take most of that out of the mix, just from, like, a position of, like, ethics, that between, like, the Saudi blood money and the way that they treat their contractors and some of these people that they've chosen to enter into business relationships with, like Tyson Fury, like, Linda McMahon's relationship with the Trump administration, I just fucking can't do it. And the thing is that there is so much good wrestling out there, which is not this company, that, like, it's not like if you're like, oh, well, I'm a wrestling fan and literally the only wrestling in the world is WWE. It's not even like that. Like, if you choose to not consume WWE, there is a metric shit ton of good wrestling out there, and a lot of it will probably end up being closer to what you were looking for in the first place. I guess, in conclusion, quid pro quo, vis-a-vis, concordantly, please see my MLA footnotes, watch AEW Dynamite, Vince McMahon, get fucked, Tyson Fury, please fall off a pier.
I'd prefer a cliff, but it could also be a pier. Who knows? It's your choice. Dealer's choice.
Yeah. I'd please fall off a pier. Rocky.
Yeah.
What if I told you I had a series of books and podcasts about positioning yourself for wealth and greatness, and that my books and my podcasts about positioning yourself for wealth or greatness were all exclusively in the Spanish language, and that I was going to use some public domain music to open and close my podcast about wealth and greatness, and that I was going to come after people for the use of public domain music.
Wait, no, hold on. I didn't actually listen to it before. Are you telling... He opens and closes with that trash music? Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
That's so whack! This guy's lame. He's not worth our time. Brian, this guy sucks, but he's not... Oh my god. Like, it's not... Dude.
Lay it on me. Give
me
the gravy. Give me the gravy.
Okay, so everyone, Brian's dancing around it. It's cool. There's a man. His name is Ramon Saiso.
He's gonna get you rich, Rocky.
Oh my god. He is a self-styled advice guru for personal economic matters, for investment, for making good habits, etc. He claims that he worked for multinational corporations, but he left because they weren't going in a direction that he found ethically sustainable. So he wrote some self-help books. He's written a couple of novels, and now he has a podcast. And he has a podcast that uses our news theme. That's the thing. The podcast is relatively new. It hasn't been around for that long. Trust. But he uses the news theme, which I found on a lazy Saturday on YouTube one day, and it was public domain. And I was like, hey, this works for news. And this guy opens and closes his podcast with that track. Mm-hmm. They don't even have someone like Big Sach. Like, and so this guy, this man is responsible for why on Facebook our last episode was copyright struck, because he presumably uses some sort of software or pays some sort of service for tens of dollars a month that will comb the internet to find out if someone's using his content. And they struck the news theme, but the news theme's public domain. But honestly, you know what? I'm above it. I'm over it. Cause like, I just switched out the track. We have tracks with people that love and support us, that will collaborate with us in putting together a new news theme, and we're just gonna do it. Cause we've been here for a couple years, and if this guy wants to use this random played out track, as his opening closing for his podcast, and more power to him, I guess. You know, hopefully the abuelas and the tias and tios out there are able to get a little bit more money listening to this dude, but I'm not that hopeful. This guy does not sound like the real deal. I've looked through his stuff and I'm not impressed. Jesus Christ. This guy Ramen Saiso, he's just like, I'm so over him. Like, I don't even know why he's here. Like, he doesn't even go here, Brian.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and he's just like,
I mean,
he's gonna yell about some public. It's probably not even him. Like, it's probably just the service.
Right.
They're gonna show up at the end of the month and like, hey, we struck these people, and they're gonna realize like, oh, this is public domain. Like, why did you do this? And like, maybe he'll find some remorse. But honestly, I don't care. I got other stuff to do. Like, if we need to change the track, it's fine. I've been meaning to change the track for like 2-3 years. And I just haven't done it because it was convenient. And now it's not, so I'm changing the track. So I guess thank you, Raimon Saiso. Now I can move forward in my life, I guess. Maybe that's what the books are about. I have no idea. Like, oh God.
I mean, the thing that, like, fucking gets me about this bullshit is because of the way these services work. These copyright strike assassins who you two can engage for generally less than the cost of a new AAA video game. If, like, you, Tegan, and I were like, all right, let's spend $50 a month on getting one of these copyright assassins. And, you know, and you give them your existing library and then send them out, then they would end up striking people for the same piece of public domain music.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
It's a really good grift, actually, for being honest.
God damn. It just... It blows my mind that the reaction of... It just means that, like, media distribution platforms have grown to sizes where laws cannot be reasonably adhered to on those platforms, which means that they are too big. YouTube is too big. I read somewhere just like the absolutely terrifying 300 hours of video is uploaded to YouTube every minute.
Yes.
That is absolutely fucking terrifying. And there's just no way whatsoever with that volume of content without like a just monumental investment in labor, like really and truly significant, that there's anything that's even going to be like remotely adherent to, you know, IP law, copyright law, and EU safe harbor law. Like, just YouTube is a goddamn gaming table in Las Vegas where we keep on like betting on black and hoping to make more money, but at some point, like, it's just too big. It's just too big. The bet's too much. The shit's gonna go titties up. It's too much. Like, the whole stuff, like these like little like weird ancillary side hustles, like these copyright strike companies, can only exist because the platforms that they crawl are too big to manage the content that is introduced onto them.
Well, sure, but Google is definitely shirking responsibility in terms of like promising quality on the platform.
Yep.
Because they just want to provide the platform. That's
right.
all they really want to do.
Right.
But the thing is, people still want quality. It's like there should be third parties that step in to like try to, you know, both surface the good stuff and like filter out the riffraff. I don't think this will ever spell like the end of YouTube because there's still really good stuff going on. There's this creator, Guy De Silva, and he is a stunt actor who has recently been putting together a series that spins off of the My Hero Academia series called UALA, where they basically film a live-action mini-series where they show the interaction of like a prospective student who like goes to the LA site of like I actually don't remember what UA stands for. Ultimate Academy, I think.
Right.
Which is the school that the protagonists of the anime go to. And he, like, ends up in a situation where, like, he happens upon a man who stole a wallet from someone. And he ends up fighting, like, with his quirk. And they use a really inventive quirk. The writing was pretty good, but they also, like, shot it incredibly well. the script and like the camera work is done by actually someone that has real credits. Like he did camera work for Solo. Basically, people like the accessibility of YouTube is still really useful, and like finding good stuff is difficult, definitely, because like sometimes you end up like listening to like Michael Jordan and the Illuminati conspiracies instead of like anything that like is worth your time. But I think these like secondary like markets are necessary, but they need to be retooled, and like part of that is, you know, the public bullying them over shit like this. It's important to be done. And because we are both like users and proprietors of like the service, which is weird. It's a weird relationship that like consumers haven't had for like
a
long time. I'm not sure if I'd call it regressive, but like in some ways it is, because things definitely used to be like this. But like taking everything out of the hands of the consumer like also feels like intellectually lazy, I think.
Right. I think that, because there's always been the argument about, like, is YouTube a platform or is YouTube a publisher? You know, because it means two different things.
Right.
If the supplemental services that are, like, laid on top of these services with the supposition that they are platforms and not publishers. And just for the record, like, again, like, our copyright strike encounter with the preeminent, you know, wealth coach didn't happen on YouTube. Ours happened on Facebook.
Sure.
But these supplemental services, which presuppose that these services are platforms and not publishers, if the way that they approach service is the exact same way, if what they're doing is the same thing, like algorithmically attacking stuff and being like, okay, we're going to sample everything which has been uploaded within the last minute. Okay, we found a hit on content that we currently have the rights to protect. Serve up a copyright strike. Then what good are these supplemental services? Like, it's kind of like who watches the watchers, and the answer is a fucking algorithm. Like, the platform is serving up everything based on an algorithm, and then these supplemental services are also just serving up stuff based on algorithms. It's like everybody's business model is like giving themselves permission to check out and be like, okay, I'm not actually going to, you know, curate or make conscious decisions about the content that I'm, you know, attacking or surfacing. Like, it's wild. It's wild. Like, where's the dude? Where is the dude who looks at the things that the robot says, like, okay, like, that's definitely a copyright strike? Like, where's the guy who's just, like, quality checking the copyright strike before it automatically gets sent to Facebook? Like, that's where I get lost. Like,
people, or not people, because they're not people, but corporations are trying to use algorithms to replace people. And there is a huge fear about whether or not that will actually work. But I personally don't think it will, ultimately, because there are just gaps that can't be filled, and like quantum computing is nowhere near where we actually want it to be. Like, it increases in speed, but not really in complexity. So, what kind of an incident do you think would be sufficient for, say, corporations to reverse course and decide maybe we can't replace people with our algorithms?
I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I mean, because the thing is that, like, I sincerely believe that at the end of the day, a publicly traded corporation is never going to make a decision which is not in the service of getting more money to its shareholders.
Right. And I guess what I'm saying, what I'm specifically asking, is what kind of incident would cost a corporation of this caliber so much money that they would say, oh, we need to rethink this algorithm shit. Like, What would need to happen? Well, like, paint a word picture. Because it's definitely nebulous. Like, a lot of people don't believe it could ever happen, but there are definitely scenarios in which it can. I'm trying to ask you to test your imagination.
I mean, I look at Cambridge Analytica, and those guys wrote an algorithm into the ground. They're like, okay, let's sniff, over 200 million Facebook profiles to create targeting data for, Brexit campaign and Trump campaign. And even when, like, public opinion turned against Cambridge Analytica and, like, people rose up and it became, like, politically expedient for politicians to seek the destruction of the company, those guys were still perfectly willing to be like, the algorithm is how we make the money, right up into the destruction of the company. Like, there was not enough people in that company to, I guess, change their business model even at the end. And again, this is all right. Again, I'm surprised I have to say this again, but like I feel like I need to. I am not opposed to data science. Like my work that I do every day is like tied very closely to data science. There's nothing wrong with an algorithm. The idea is like the most important thing you can do with any algorithm, the most important thing you can do with machine learning is human oversight. Like you cannot have uncontrolled, uncurated, unmanaged machine learning. When you stop having a human in charge of the robots learning, that's when you get a Pornhub that recommends nothing but stepbrother fucking videos to you.
Okay, but also, like, Pornhub is flooded with faux sex videos. I want to say it's about 30% of their content. Like, I need to find the graphs, but, like, a lot of what's on that site is that content. And it's probably because the machines told them that was what was popular, but still.
Exactly. It's a self-perpetuating problem. It's that, like, if you have people who are producing content based on what content is being produced on your platform, something which is like a very well-known problem on YouTube, like the same problem exists on other video platforms. It's just like the problem is so stark and easily describable with Pornhub. Mm. You and I both know, and as well as the hole in the ground, that like the world didn't just wake up and be like, man, look, two thoughts, and stick with me on this one. I wish I had a stepsister, and I am mad horny. Like, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen, never happened. So fucking fake. Oh my god.
Right. Didn't happen, never happened. So fucking fake. But the untrained algorithm at Pornhub just kept on being like, all right, I'm not really good at like fuzzy logic. And it's interesting because like with a lot of these like video serving platforms, it's obvious that they're good with some kinds of fuzzy learning, but bad with other kinds of fuzzy learning.
Sure.
And like a lot of times, like because they can't understand the content or the quality of the content in like say a streamed video, basically the only fuzzy that they're going to be able to capture is what exactly is in a thumbnail for a video, and then just use image recognition on the thumbnail. Which is how you end up with some like truly fucking nightmarish like YouTube recommendations. Because like, let's say you watch a video on like why Alex Jones is a piece of shit. And and Alex Jones's pumpkin head is in the thumbnail. Then like YouTube goes beep, boop, beep. Obviously you are into Alex Jones. Like, you watched a video where his pumpkin head is in the thumbnail. You must be into his brand of crazy. Here you are. It's like, it's one of those things where like you can't watch a feminist frequency video on YouTube without getting recommended 900 videos on why feminist frequency is terrible.
True.
And like, this is all bad because it ends up like dictating what gets uploaded to these platforms. And if the way that companies respond to these platforms is with their own shitty, untrained algorithms, then like, we're all fucking doomed. We're all fucking doomed.
Well, I mean, like, eventually we would stop consuming their product.
You'd think.
Like, I mean, someone will definitely consume their product. And maybe it'll be enough for them to survive, which is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like, there's this comedy group that puts out videos on YouTube, and they were trash for a long time, but they recently put out a string of really good videos, one of which that I do want to recommend is just titled, What They Expect Us to Do When an Amber Alert Comes On. And, like, there's this guy, and he's, like, online playing a video game, and then, like, an Amber Alert goes off on his phone, and he looks at the phone for a second, and then he, like, grabs the phone and just runs out of his house, like, into the street, and there's just 4 other dudes, and they all got the same Amber Alert, and they're just, like, kind of, like, conversing, like, where to find this dude, and the car that described on the Amber Alert, like, just drives by, and then they chase after it, and, like, the cinematography on it is, like, actually excellent. Like, they use really good shots. They use a drone shot, like, over the 2 cars as they're, like, driving down the highway. And then, like, it ends with them, forcing the car to pull over and then, like, jumping the guy out of it. And then the guy, like, grabs the baby in the back seat and, like, tucks him under his arm and, like, runs back. And, like, it's excellent. Like, it's very well done. It's really funny. And outside of just being these guys on YouTube, they have no credentials. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, like, there are people that, like, are straight up, like, this one sketch made me laugh harder than, like, anything on SNL for the past, like, 4 years. And there are definitely people that are going to watch SNL until they die. Like, that's just how it's going to go. And there's good stuff that's going on SNL. Like, I'm really huge fans of Cecily Strong and Ego Nwodim. But, like, I feel like people will just learn to find their comedy elsewhere. And, like, as their audience gets bigger in these new platforms, like, even if they start on, like, Vine or TikTok or whatever, like, people who are messing around with these experimental mediums until they perfect their craft will, like, ultimately build their own opportunities because of the ubiquity of these platforms. And I don't think that'll destroy, like, the big brand people. Like, these guys are never taking down Disney. Like, I don't think that's a thing that's gonna happen. But, like, as these people, like, build their audiences and, like, connect with people on a more, you know, realistic way, as long as, like, Disney doesn't own their production studio or whoever the fuck, they will ultimately find a way to survive and slowly chip away at, like, these big giants. 'Cause, like, Rome fell at some point, and
right.
like Disney will probably fall too, and I don't know when, and I can't predict how, but understanding that, like, the people that run Disney won't run Disney forever, and that while this machine is probably, like, more resilient than previous ones, there's no reason to really believe that it's eternal.
Man. So I guess in summary,
Fuck Ryman Saiso.
I'm not going to go as far as saying fuck him. Just fuck whatever company he cuts a check to every month.
Well, also fuck them. Personally, that dude is whack. And, you know, I hope he steps on Legos for the rest of his life.
He's got to get one of them Lego death matches. Rocky, you have business to bring to the table.
Worlds 2019 in League of Legends is going on, and Brian, I have a complicated relationship with League of Legends.
Would you say it is more or less complicated than my relationship with Hearthstone?
I'm not going to say it's more, but it's different.
Okay.
So League of Legends is a video game, which I maintain is still a bad game for bad people. It is incredibly complex, and it requires a certain amount of literacy just to watch it. You know, like, the beauty of some things that, like, a lot of traditional sports that we understand these days, is that we already understand what is good and what isn't. Like, if someone makes a shot in a basketball, that is meaningful to us. Or if someone makes a goal in soccer, it is definitely significant. But like the commentators is what make a goal in soccer a big deal. Like they bring the hype to the game, and that's really important to how like League of Legends is cast, like in professional play. And so like I actually enjoy watching League a lot more than I enjoy playing it, but mostly because I am not especially proficient, and neither are the people that I play with. And but watching League of Legends is a fun thing for me, especially at like really high levels, because people will pull out weird shit that like doesn't look like it should work, and it's a surprise. Like I love like in general in any sort of competition, the sort of like janky like low tier strats that someone pulls out to make things work. And you can see that, say, like in Street Fighter with like the Hakan comeback, or things like in Smash Bros. Where Hungrybox took Jigglypuff from literally a bottom tier character to top 5 and being one of the most proficient players in the world. League of Legends has a lot of moments over its past like 6 to 8 years, which I can't remember how many we're at now, as a professionally played like video game, where people take a lesser known character or even a popular character and put them in a weird spot to make them do something different. And that's a lot of fun. But Worlds right now, because we're still in the group stage, which is basically where everyone's trying to weed each other out, kind of World Cup style, you're seeing a lot of bad teams play against each other. And there are some people that are just expressly dominant. Like Daimon basically went 4-0 in their group stage, which means that their group was ultimately unbalanced. Oh. And they had the one Latin American team, Brazilian, who is 1-3 right now, I think currently playing their tiebreaker match. Right. Which is actually pretty sad, because like people are roasting them in stream. They're calling them Bronzillion. For people who don't know, bronze is now the second worst rank that you can have in League. Previously the original was the worst, but then they built iron under it, because people who are at the bottom of bronze apparently needed an entire tier just so they could fuck around by themselves. So they put them there. But Worlds 2019 right now is, since they are in the group stages, are very cookie cutter and are either, you know, blowouts or slobber knockers. Like, that's all we're getting. And, like, the blowouts are, like, good if you're a student of the game, because you get to acknowledge, like, the things that people do well, and you can see how much a particular mistake can be magnified. That, like, if this team did one thing wrong, and that's why they lost 20 minutes later. And, like, it spins into that. And, like, the real game is like that, which is why it's not especially fun to play. But it's really interesting to see, like, when you're trying to talk to people about the game. But slobber knockers are usually a bunch of people making a bunch of mistakes on both sides of the map. And so, like, you'll end up with, like, really high score games where, like, there'll be 32 deaths on each side in the space of, like, 45 minutes. So, like, one person is making a mistake that costs them a life every minute and a half or some shit. Minute and 20 seconds, I think. And, like, it's stupid. Like, and I don't like watching that. I'm not a fan right now. But, hopefully, because we're at the beginning of Worlds as group stages, but, when we get into, like, the best of threes where, like, teams feel more comfortable experimenting a bit, where they're going to play the same person 3 to 5 times in a row, right, so they can feel out what they're capable of or what kind of strategies they want to lean on and see if they can pull out some weird shit. Because there are definitely some things that I've been wanting to see that no one's used yet, because it's risky, and, like, people don't take risk in group stages. They're just trying to get as many of the 4 wins as they can get and move on, which is, you know, kind of how it always happens, but it's especially dull this year, especially since there's less teams involved. Like, there's still 4 groups, but, like, there's 3 teams per group, which makes it kind of awkward for, like, everyone to play 4 games, because you're not playing, like, everyone once, you're playing everyone once and one person twice. And I don't know. I'm not a fan right now. Like, hopefully I'll feel differently next week. But yeah, like, I don't know. Brian, how would you rate that on the complicated relationship scale?
You know that a video game and you have a special relationship when you look at the video game and you're like, video game, I am both simultaneously curious and excited and disgusted and self-loathing.
Yeah. Like, I'm definitely at a place in my life where, like, I'm happy to see the game going well, and I'm really happy to see other people play it, but I don't think I'm ever going to play it ever again. Like, I don't think I need that in my life.
Like, I think I may have mentioned on the show before the amount of hours I spend a week playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, it's like a part-time job.
Yep. You know, I spend about 12 hours a week playing Hearthstone. And this is a steady, fixed number. And it is an indisputable fact that that I could basically play most new video game releases that I want and watch all the grappling that I want if I just stopped playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, I do remember this conversation.
Yes. And it's not like I love Hearthstone anymore. You know, Hearthstone for me at this point is a bad uncle. I want him to be healthy. I want him to stop drinking, but I really wish he wouldn't come for Thanksgiving.
Okay, Brad, I want you to try something for me, like as your friend.
Okay.
So as we know in basic armchair psychology, that it only takes about 10 days to form a habit. And honestly, you can do it in 9 if you're really serious. I want you to try not playing Hearthstone for 10 consecutive days. And then tell us how you feel about it. About Hearthstone specifically. And about your life, you know, without Hearthstone. But 10 days. That's what I'm asking for.
I'm open to this idea. I know that Hearthstone is definitely something that I use to facilitate and enable other bad habits in my life.
Okay.
Like, you know, if we were to roll back to an earlier topic on the show where we were talking about my sleep being completely fucked, there have definitely been more than one night where I have been awake at 4:30 in the morning, like some kind of like vacant, dead zombie.
Because you've lost control of your life?
You know, because I've lost control of my life from sitting there playing fucking Hearthstone. And I'm like, yep, why not? Here we are. Oh, look, another hunter. I never saw this coming. I couldn't possibly have seen this coming.
Oh, man.
An aggro deck. You know.
Oh man, no, I've definitely done those, Brian. Like actually, you know who it was? It was Joe that got this to really stick in my brain because I didn't realize I was doing it until he vocalized it. And like he used to play League of Legends too. And the thing about playing League of Legends is that like when you lose, like, well, I mean, in general, like to quote like a baseball great, losing feels worse than winning feels good. It's just how that goes.
Yes. Absolutely.
With League of Legends, like, because it's a cooperative game, like, you are not only playing this game for, like, 20 to 40 minutes at a time, but you are giving that time to other people. And so, like, when you get into a game, especially, like, around your bedtime, and, like, you lose, and, like, you may have made mistakes because you're not a perfect player, but you know that, like, there's some other jackass that just ran in way too early and blew all our cover, and now we all died, and that's how we lost. Like, that, you can point to that, like, specific 30-second memory in your brain that, like, if this did not happen, we would not have lost right then.
Right.
And so, like, you can't go to bed with that knowledge, with that kind of sense. Yep. Like, if I were a less cognizant person, I could probably just lose at League and go to sleep and never think about it again. But I'm not that person. Like, I know what's going on and I think about these things. And, like, a reasonable person that's able to see those things has two choices. They can either go to bed angry or play another game. And, like, a lot of times, maybe you'll go to bed on a win, and maybe it'll take you like an hour or so to get there, but maybe you'll just lose a game that you're comfortable losing and you'll go to bed anyways, and like you just gave up another, 20 to 40 or honestly 60 to 120 minutes of your life to these other people so that you could feel comfortable going to sleep, and like that is a bad habit. And like I got to a point, like I think after I heard Joe say that, like I I slowed my league intake to about 3 games a day. Unless I were playing with friends and things were going well. Like, I would play 3 games, and if I lost 2 games in a row, I would stop playing. Like, I was just like, no, I gotta walk away from this. I gotta go do something else. And instead of losing another 3-4 hours to league, I don't know, I learned a new recipe or something. Mm-hmm. I watched another TV show. And like being able to like redirect that energy was like an important step for me in like developing my own discipline. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to thank Joe enough for that. Maybe I will. I'll figure it out. Like, it'll be a part of the death plan. Who knows?
It's really weird that, like, I think that there is a segment of people out there who are really into video games and play a lot of video games that if you were to ask them, do you personally hate the video game that you spend the most time with?
Yeah, some people will be like, yeah, like, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And the response would come that way. Like, of course I hate it. Fuck that game. You know, like, I wish the servers would come down tomorrow.
Yeah, right?
And then you'd be like, well, why do you want it to come down tomorrow? Like, well, I'm going to play it tonight. You know, like...
Like, honestly, like, there were some nights where, like, if the league server was down, I'm like, I'm free.
Yep. Exactly.
Like... Oh, man.
I will never forget the month my mother died.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the end of that month. It was September, and I got to the 30th. And I remember looking up at a calendar and being like, oh God, the month ends in 3 hours. And I've just been so inside of my own shit that I haven't played Hearthstone really all month. And so I ran to my computer and I'm like, I've only got X many hours to get enough rank to get my card back for the month.
Oh, fuck.
And I sat there playing it, hating it the whole time. I got my card back for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in Hearthstone, one of the things that they have is, like, a virtual book you can flip through looking at the card backs that you have earned over the time that you've played the game. And it just feels like a scrapbook of wasted time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. I've been in that position specifically, especially with, like, Final Fantasy XIV. They obviously have, like, a weekly, like, currency that you can accumulate that's,
right,
like, capped, like, at a certain amount.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been in situations where I have, like, just been online specifically to raid, and I haven't done, like, any of the dailies or anything like that. And, I've, been in a rush to do them, like, Monday night because the reset's on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Like, sometimes I end up in some really bad queues. Because, like, and I hate to say this, because, Brian, this is going to make me elitist, but the good people play early and then they end early. Like, that's just how that goes. Like, Tuesdays when the reset happens, like, at 4 a.m.,
yep, Tuesday
evening, everyone will show up and, like, blow up the shit. Blow through their dailies, blow through, like, their weekly raid, and then they'll get off. And so, like, the further you get from Tuesday, the less proficient your pool of players becomes. And I've been in, like, certain situations just trying to do dailies. Like, there's this one fight, it's a story fight, which means you have to get through it to progress through the story. And I'll drop into it in an instance because it's my trial, like, daily or whatever. And all things considered, if things are, you know, average, you can get through the fight in about 8 minutes. If things are especially good, like in the party, like everyone's dealing their damage, everyone knows what's going on, you can get through it in about 5. Like, I've seen it. But, like, I was running with somehow, like, a group of people that have never done this fight before. And so, like, they're learning it from scratch, and they're not especially good. And it's Monday night, and I'm trying to run through this fight. And I'm playing healer, which means my job is to make sure that we are alive at the end of the fight. Like, that's our goal. And, like, people are just dying to random mechanics. The damage is just not coming out. Like, this is a fight that I should be able to just stand in a particular spot and, like, mash a button until I'm done. And then, like, 40 minutes later, after, like, our 6th attempt, I'm having to use, like, the Limit Break 3, which brings everyone back from the dead, instead of, like, some DPS using it for damage, because everyone's died in, like, the past, like, minute and a half. There was a run, Brian. So, like, some of us use parsers, which are, like, against the term of service. Like, you're not supposed to use parsers because they can be used to bully people. That's just how that goes. And, like, two people that, like, I'm in my guild with, and they actually they were dealing their damage, and they're, like, raid ready. One of them, like, is our guild leader, and he's, like, maybe in the top 10 percentile of, like, all bards, dancers in, like, the game. Like, that's just who he is.
Sure.
And, like, they're in the same instance, and, like, people are dying, and at some point they died because they didn't get healed. Like, they're DPS, they can't heal themselves that much. And, like, they died, and they had been dead for a minute, for a solid 60 seconds, and the game parses, like, your damage per second. And they were the top 2 DPS in the instance, despite not having done anything for the past minute. Like, their DPS was, like, 3 times as much as, like, the next highest person in that group. Like, no one had any idea what was going on. It was just like, why are we still here? Like, what's going on? It was a mess. Ugh. It's a different situation, but I get, like, when, like, playing a game that you normally play just becomes a fucking trial. Like, holy shit.
I definitely can sympathize with the whole idea of, like, there being certain times of week or the month where the level of the competition that you engage is, like, markedly different, and how it can incredibly negatively impact your play experience. So, and here's some dark truth for you. The people playing Hearthstone on Saturday are very bad at Hearthstone.
Oof.
Because it is the weekend, and most of the people who are playing Hearthstone who are, like, competitive at it in North America are doing so what I would call during, like, primetime television hours, Sunday to Thursday.
Okay, yeah, I believe that.
Because what they're doing is they're sitting on their fucking couch, and they've got some television on that they apparently don't care about, and they're cranking ladder for, like, 4 hours. The people playing Hearthstone on Saturday are pretty sure it's a card game. They're not, like, certain yet.
That's so good.
And so, like, it can make playing against those people, like, unbearable, because just, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. You're like, it's the 2-mana turn. You either have a card to play or not. Like,
yeah, like,
you know,
you're just sitting there staring at their cards like, dude, like, can you play something, please?
Yeah. Like, you have 2 mana. What are you going to do? And and then here's where it comes back to the, like, this is a bad game and I'm a bad person for playing it moment.
Sure.
When you sit there and you realize, like, oh, if I spend time on ladder on Saturdays, I'm going to rack up a bunch of wins.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what that's like. I've been there. Like, me and a group of friends, when we used to play League of Legends, I think it was like Thursday and Saturday nights, we would play easily from like 10 to like 3 a.m. just to catch the drunk idiots that were like trying to play ranked and blow them up. Mm-hmm. Like this, like we did it on purpose, and like we were definitely boosted. Like there's no way that we were actually as good as our rank said that we were, but like, but we definitely did
familiar with that. I'm absolutely familiar with the moments when my rank is wearing a tuxedo t-shirt, like, and oh god, and I also know that during the first week of the month, like, ranked is like a place with all the long knives.
Yes,
you know, because like that's when all the
because everyone's back. Yeah. And like the last like 3 days is where you get put where you're supposed to be.
Yep. But like that, like if you're in there on a weekend in the middle of the month, it is just the most fucking like desolate landscape of guys who are like, "What does Doomsayer do?" And you're like,
"Oh no,
fucking."
Here, look, I'll teach you what Doomsayer does. Like you can read it in the graveyard, bro.
Oh, wow. So, in summary, video games are bad. Why don't you tell me about tabletop roleplay?
Bruh, dude, this whole book, okay, so like, it's Wizards of the Coast, has not called me back about my asymmetrical video game idea for like tabletop gaming, but a couple weeks ago, they put out a new expansion to D&D 5e, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, and I'm reading through it. We haven't started playing it yet. But, like, I bought it this week. I've been reading through all the background, and, like, Baldur's Gate, obviously people know because it was a video game 20 years ago, but it is a rich and interesting setting full of, like, characters and, like, quirks that are really fucking cool, and I'm having a great time reading through it. And this book is adding vehicles to the game so that player characters will have like Mad Max style cars that they're able to like develop and like upgrade throughout their adventure from like levels 1 to 13. The world, like, you know, they have different castes. There's all sorts of like different like cultures that are intermingling. It is this incredibly dangerous town on like multiple levels. So like the city of Baldur's Gate, which Brian, I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Is separated into 3 major separations. There's the upper city, the lower city, and the outer city.
Right.
And the upper city and lower city are surrounded by the walls, and they are protected by a mercenary force named the Flaming Fist. And the Flaming Fist is super protective of the upper city. They are marginally protective of the lower city and completely ignore the outer city. So like the outer city, like your biggest problem is probably just murder, like random wanton murder. In the lower city, like there's still murder, but it's usually like pointed, like they murdered a guy because he's walking around with too much coin, or this man was murdered because his wife's having an affair and she wants to like marry her mistress. And like shit like that. So like there's intrigue as you climb further up at the upper city. Like there is still murder, but it's not wanton, and it is pointed, but it's calculated, and it's like slow building. So like you kind of like have like an increasing scale from like psychopathy to Machiavellian in terms of like how crime occurs. Mm-hmm. And like there are like multiple layers to the city in advance as well. Like there's like the walls themselves have been repaired and re-repaired over the centuries, and the criminal enterprise has secured their own like secret entrances into various parts of the city, and they have bribed or bullied their way into it. There are the 3 minor gods of murder, which are actually demigods of murder, that like supposedly walk the earth, that have various holdings throughout the city, and like people in the city pay patronage to them. And like, it's dark, but it's not grim dark, right? Like, it's not dark for the sake of being edgy. It's just like, it's designed to fucking hit you. And like, the stories, the arcs that are like designed in this space, the like various people and like families that exist in it, they just feel like real people. Like, I could just talk about them to like, you know, normies or whatever. And like, they are ripe for like roleplay potential. There's definitely systems in place to like have emergent gameplay pop out of stuff when people start fucking with like the skeleton of like the world. And it's partially because like the setting is so old that people have to like develop it and make sure that it's like pitch perfect when it hits tabletops again. But I'm really fucking excited to run it, and god damn it, dude, I love this game. Like, I love tabletop RPGs in general. People who listen to the show know that. But I'm really excited about running Descent into Avernus. I want to, like, really push the limits of these people and these fucking, like, Mad Max, like, vehicles and shit. I want them to really, like, fuck with these people and these, like, and like the upper families, or a couple of them are gonna go dark. Like, necromancers are just kind of cool in this game. Oh, that's the thing. One of the things that I really like about this setting is that it's also like alignment agnostic. In a lot of settings, like, you have to be some measure of like good or neutral to get anything done. Otherwise, there isn't a lot for you to do. But in this one, like, there are a lot of ways to be evil, to be neutral, to dance the lines, or to be good. Like, it feels like the Shin Megami Tensei of fucking, like, tabletop RPGs right now, Brian. I am lit, dude. I am excited. I am ecstatic to play this fucking tabletop, and I'm just devouring this shit, bro.
Well, man, that is a strong case.
Yeah, dude, like, Necros, there's a whole, like, so there's 3, like, demigods, right? Like, there's the Lord of Murder, the Lord of Tyranny, and the Lord of, Death, and whatever. And, like, the Lord of Tyranny, like, his name is Bane, of all things. And, like, the kingpins and, like, the crime gangs, like, pay patronage to him whenever they wanna, or anyone pays patronage when they want to gain something through, like, deception or, like, intimidation. There's, the Lord of Murder, who's Baal, who, like, apparently has a bunch of, like, Baal spawn, like, children when he was, like, walking the earth, that are just, like, in the world. Like, anyone could potentially be a Baal spawn, because they look like people, and, like, they just have, like, the essence of this demigod in them, and every time they kill something, they get more powerful. And so, like, there's just a lot of potential ways that could just pop up in the story. And then there's, like, the Lord of Death, or, like, yeah, I don't think that's actually his title, but, like, he, like, is about people who are interested in the undead, whether it's to build their own army or to, like, learn things from, like, the people who are dead, like, they pay patronage to. And, like, that is the weakest force in this, like, particular setting, because since murder's kind of everywhere, people aren't that afraid of, like, death of old age. Like, it's just not a thing that they have to worry about. They got other shit to worry about. Imagine, Brian, an investigator rogue type character that, like, was a necromancer, which is basically Lee Pace in Pushing Daisies, that, like, interacts with, like, dead bodies to learn the secrets of how they died, to, like, investigate them, or to learn the secrets of the dead people for their own benefit. Like, that's a whole character you can do in Baldur's Gate, and, like, the setting, like, has built-in, like, story beats to feed that to you. And, like, there's, oh my god, dude, I love this setting so much. I'm so excited. Where you could just be like the kingpin who, like, rise up the criminal enterprise until you're all of a sudden you're fucking over people in the upper city. You could be a pro assassin, because, like, assassins are paid big money to murder the patriarchs, who are, like, essentially the House of Representatives there. And, like, the president, who's, like, the head of the Grand Dukes, who, like, runs, like, the Flaming Fists, who's just, like, a stalwart, like, no-nonsense badass, who, like, runs basically everything, and no one likes him for it, but he doesn't care, because he has power. He's, like, full Cersei. Well, like, the traditional male Cersei, where, like, he's just like, power is power. I don't care if you like me. If you're going to stand in my way, I'll slit your throat right here, right now, Brian, this fucking setting, dude. Jesus Christ, I love Baldur's Gate. I gotta go back and play the games.
Rocky.
Yes.
What if I were to tell you there is a land where a noble queen, Wendy, first of her name... Yes, Rocky?
No, I'm still here. Go ahead.
That Wendy, the clapback queen, has been the ruler of Freshtovia since 1969.
Yeah, no. I saw, like, the previews for it, and, like, it does feel like a lot more in the vein of that, of the, you know, KFC, like, a finger-licking good, like, dating sim or whatever. I think it's something that'll be fun to do as a lark, but one of those things that I'm not gonna pay for. Like, and there are some things that, like, have happened that I would do on a lark that I would pay for. Like, for example, there was that guy who was developing, the monsters of Monster Hunter as, like, creature encounters, as, like, epic level monsters. I probably would have paid money for that expansion. Like, I probably would have done it. But, like, there's stuff like, the Wendy's entering the tabletop game feels on the level of, the Shaggy meme character entering the tabletop game. Do you remember that? Like, when, they were talking about, like, Shaggy, how he's, like, basically, like, a deity or whatever. Like, Shaggy, like, Blanco Verde or whatever, like, parroting the fucking Dragon Ball Z nomenclature. To be clear, this is Shaggy of the Scooby-Doo franchise, not of R&B music fame.
Ruh-roh. I don't think I know, but continue.
I'll send you the character sheet at some point. But, like, the idea is that, like, I looked over some of the Wendy stuff, and, like, it looks like an empty-handed cash grab for a meme. But, like, the thing is, and this is where the rest of the world is right now, which is, you know, frustrating corporate America, but I'm not gonna pay money for a meme. I'm just not gonna fucking do it. And, like, I know there are people that will. Like, there are people, like, there are, like, the bougie D&D players that, like, where money isn't a thing and they'll throw that money at Wendy's if they want to. But, like, I don't. Actually, I don't even remember if Wendy's is charging money for it. Like, if it's just a downloadable thing, but it's just, like, an ad for Wendy's that, like, put into my tabletop game, you're not gonna trick me into putting an ad into my own game. Like, I'm not gonna do it. It's not real life. It's not worth it to me. Like, Wendy's has done some pretty fun stuff over the years. Like, the Twitter clapbacks have been good. The mixtape was surprisingly good. Like, I think it's mostly because, you know, Wendy's is a female avatar. Like, if they put out a Ronald McDonald mixtape, it would not have been good. Like, it wouldn't have hit the same way that it did. But, like, now I got Megan Thee Stallion and, like, No Name, so I don't have to pay attention to this shit ever again. You know what I mean? And, like, I think Wendy's is just KFC where they're just grasping for straws for cultural relevance. As opposed to just being a part of the conversation.
Fuck them into the dirt, dump them off a pier, feed them beans. I know a recurring theme on the show that I have said over and over again is brands are not your friends. And when I saw the Wendy's thing this week, it is only because the world is so terrible that somehow Wendy's 97-page free fucking tabletop RPG advertisement could be my second most hated cynical brand move of the week.
I think it was really funny to me, like, Kotaku's Gita Jackson, like, saw, like, the Wendy's announcement, and she, like, quote tweeted it, and she's like, I feel like we already did this, and, like, she linked the, review of the finger licking good dating sim, and, like, Wendy's actually responded to it, like, trying to, like, say, it's like, it's actually not the same thing at all, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, alright, like, I'm not gonna fuck with this the same reason I'm not gonna fuck with that. Like, get out of here.
I'm gonna read you a tweet.
Sure, go for it, man.
I'm not gonna say who tweeted it. I'm just gonna read you the tweet. Hey, you're gonna be okay. Yes, you will overcome the obstacles in front of you, and you will transcend the difficult environment you're navigating.
I feel like I retweeted that. I feel
you
like
are
that's
strong,
the thing that did.
courageous, and tenacious. Move confidently that you are in control of your story.
I definitely retweeted that. But who initially wrote it? I don't remember. I know I retweeted it. But I do stuff like that, man. Whatever. Like, I'm not asking for
Congratulations on retweeting Little Debbie.
Wait, who's Little Debbie? I'm blind on this one, man. You gotta elucidate me.
Snack cakes.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah, you might know them from the oatmeal cream pie, the Swiss roll, the chocolate cream pie. Yeah, they are shitty snack cakes. The Nutty Bar.
Oh, man. I just thought, honestly, it just felt like a Yay Friends bot tweet to me, so I, retweeted it. Like, sometimes I, retweet wanton positivity. It's not an endorsement of the brand. For anyone who follows my Twitter, just understand that, I didn't even know who Ludez was. I don't care.
But I just read that and I was like, this is the absolute most cynical shit. And, once again, back to let the world burn. The top response to this fucking tweet by a snack cake company comes from Steakum, which says, "Did Elizabeth Gilbert take over your account for a day, Debbie?" Oof. Once again, one brand humanizes another brand. And I'm just like, please, God, the internet was a mistake. Just fuck it, we weren't ready. Just, God. The fact that, mankind's knee-jerk response on the most important possible thing to do with technology that has the power to instantaneously connect people around the world is to humanize brands.
Wait, no, hold on. Brian, okay, I know you didn't listen to last week's show, but do you know about this Terrence Howard business? Not the wig, but the other thing.
No.
Okay, at the Emmys, Terrence Howard was interviewed by KVLA 14. I want to say it's 14. And he was talking about his future after the show that he's on, Empire. And he gave this interview where he was just like talking about random nonsense, Brian. Like it was actual gibberish. Like about like the real wave conjugations. Oh fuck. Hold on. I think I have it memorized because like I love this clip so much. He says, "I discovered some things in my personal life and found the science that Pythagoras has been searching for and found the real wave conjugations that we've been looking for the past 10,000 years and realized, why would I continue walking on water for tips when I have a whole new generation to teach a brand new world?" And, the guy was just like, well, that's a really big statement. Like, well, like, what are you going to do? And then, like, Terrence Howard responds, well, let me put it to you like this. All energy in the universe is expressed in motion. All motion is expressed in waves. All waves are expressed in curves. So where do the straight lines come from to make the platonic solids? There are no straight lines. And then he goes on about his fucking YouTube channel. About how he's going to rebuild Saturn without gravity and prove that gravity is an effect and not a force. And so, like, that's how it started, right? So I became interested. I was like, damn, Terrence Howard lost his mind. And me and a couple friends, we started digging into it. Turns out, Terrence Howard has not had a mind this whole time. At one point, he got into an argument with his college professor about the idea that 1 times 1 equals 1, and he fundamentally disagrees. He doesn't believe it, Brian. Terrence Howard does not believe that 1 times 1 equals 1. In fact, he believes that it has to equal 2. And he published, like, this goofy-ass manifesto on Twitter about how 1 times 1 has to equal 2, and that the whole world has been misteaching multiplication for centuries, apparently. Oh, God damn it. I didn't get to it.
I'm witnessing, oh my God. This is some... Okay.
Oh, man.
Do you know, like, when you go into a bookstore and discover very quickly that the place is wrong?
Yes!
Okay.
Yes! We've been there!
And you're like, oh, I'm in the wrong place! And, like, you're trying to make the quickest discreet exit possible. And there's usually some shit sitting beside the register, and the whole place smells like soup, and it's bad.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And there's like a guy up there. He's talking to somebody about something, and you can just hear kind of loudly, he's like, "We used to have more of that before my son died."
Oh, man, it's like walking into that, like, that music store that Hype Fidelity was, like, filmed in or whatever.
Right. I'm looking at a screen grab of some of this, like, Terrence Howard math. And I'm like, this is the kind of thing that would be just, like, placed up on the register to take with any purchase at a wrong bookstore.
At a wrong bookstore.
And I'm like, this is bad.
Oh, dude, no, it's a mess. It's legit insane.
This is unfortunate. God damn.
But Brian, where do the straight lines come from? No, you know what fucked me up, Brian? Like, I'm watching this video, right? I'm watching this video, Terrence Howard spouting this nonsense, and he says, if all waves are curves, where do the straight lines come from? And I'm looking at his hairline, and he has a straight line carved into his head. I can see it. I can see it with my eyes, Brian. Dude's like, where do the straight lines come from to make the platonic solids? I'm like, dude, are you really gonna refute the existence of straight lines? Are you serious right now? Like, oh, dude, like, oh, Brian, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I haven't figured it out. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. Maybe I'll figure out a way to do this, but I can't. I'm not there. I have room to grow.
Man. Jeez. Gosh, like, Rocky, I feel like we've had a lot of meat here on this bone, but we must bone deeper.
Oh my God. Sure, man. Let's get into it.
Look, we have an obligation to bone deeper, Rocky.
Oh, God. Okay.
So please hit the different music. Rocky, would you like to talk about labor?
Oh, fuck. Well, what's going on with labor, man?
Okay. So, Us2 Games, makers of Monument Valley, says that their recent firing of an employee has nothing to do with their pro-union activities.
A likely story.
According to Game Workers Unite, Austin Kelmore, who is a founding member of Game Workers Unite UK, which is a branch of the Independent Workers of Great Britain, was told that in late September that he'd be put on gardening leave. And if you're anything like me, you said, what the fuck is gardening leave? So gardening leave is apparently a British term. It is a period of time where an employee who is going to be terminated is told to just go home, and you're still going to be on the payroll, you're still going to be getting paid, but because of like labor practices in Britain, they can't just like say, don't come back now. Like, they can't say like, go home forever today. Like, they can't tell you to fuck off and not get paid effective that day, but they also don't want you touching any internal systems.
Okay.
So it's like, go home, you're still getting paid, and so the term that has grown up around it is called gardening leave. Go home, we're telling you that you're going to be fired, but we don't want you touching our internal systems. So congratulations, you're on gardening leave. So
whack.
Yeah, I learned something. So gardening leave. He got told he was getting put on gardening leave. And according to the statement that was released by Game Workers Unite, they say that this happened after he had been asked by a senior manager about his union activities, including asking other Us2 employees to a meeting to discuss worker rights. So Game Workers Unite is alleging that this is an unfair dismissal, which could put Austin Kelmore's work visa at risk. Us2 has confirmed that Austin Kelmore has departed the company, and it says that it has nothing to do with union activities, and the game company also says that the statements are misleading and that they will not comment further on the matter. Rocky.
Yes.
This person who is a founding member of a union chapter in the UK and spends a lot of time with like labor organization has gotten let go by a major UK game developer. What do you think that's about?
I don't know. It sounds like squashing some union activity, if we're being honest.
You think maybe the part where he invited a bunch of coworkers to a union organizing meeting might have done it?
I think that was a contributing factor, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I know the real answer to this question. I think that when somebody says to me, Brian, what were video games to you in 2019? The answer for me is sadly labor abuses and Randy Pitchford's magic show. And that makes me sad, Rocky.
I totally understand that. I feel like I have a different answer to that question.
What's your answer to that question?
Remember we were talking earlier about how you wanted to, like, throw FGC under the bus because of the, like, the roofing incident and, like, the sexual harassment? What I know about, like, the FGC is that, like, that stuff happens, and I've never been cool with it, and I'm glad this is getting enough tension to blow their shit up. The labor abuses that are happening now in video games have probably always been around. And us knowing about them in a, like, macro sense, I don't think makes video games worse, and arguably, they make them better because we can see them and we have the tools to excise them. And maybe not always the case. Like, I don't know how to blow up Us2 GameSpot right now, but I know there's a person who does, and now they have a motive.
Yeah.
That stuff is important. That, like, elucidating this information, while it may make us feel bad, ideally it makes the right people feel bad so that they can help make things better.
I'll buy that.
Like, if Brent hears about this, well, maybe not Brent. Brent's not probably going to do anything about this at all. Oh my god. But, like, a guy with Brent's level of access that has a semblance of a conscience would probably do something about this.
My wife would argue that you can't achieve Brent's level of access with a conscience.
Bet. End quote.
I see that your next story features frequent comedy contributor to this podcast, Electronic Arts.
Oh yeah. Electronic Arts confirmed that it leaked the personal information of, quote, approximately 1,600, end quote, players who registered for the upcoming FIFA 20 Global Series esports tournament. People started to notice that when they were signing up for the competition, that they could see other information about their competitors, specifically personal information, like their email addresses, or their IDs, or their birth dates. And so EA, being a large-scale corporation, took the registration page down and claimed that they were aware of, quote, potential issues. They issued a follow-up statement later in the week confirming that the issue resulted in data being leaked. We have a quote from EA saying, at approximately 1 p.m. UK time, we announced the registration portal page for the EA Sports FIFA 20 Global Series. Shortly after, we learned that some players trying to register were seeing the information of other players who had already signed up through the registration page. We immediately took action to shut down the site by 1:30 p.m. They said it only took 30 minutes. I don't believe that. UK time. We were able to root cause the issue and implement a fix to be clear that information is protected. We're confident that players will not see the same issue going forward. We've determined that approximately 1,600 players were potentially affected in the issue, and we are taking steps to contact those competitors with more details and protect their accounts. Player privacy and security are of the utmost importance to us. We deeply apologize that our players encountered this issue today. So, I mean, since they have this personal information, unless, like, they're getting new secured accounts for these people, and I guess possibly new, like, addresses for them, I don't think EA is doing shit. To be real. And I don't believe that this took only 30 minutes for them to figure out. I want to know if, like, EA and Bethesda use, like, the same company to, like, build that website. Because, like, I mean, they could have internally built the website. Like, they obviously have, like, the personnel who could do it. But I definitely believe that they may have outsourced it. And I want to see if there's a correlating, like, person that, like, fucked up this shit twice. But if it was EA internally, that would be, you know, par for the course, I guess.
Hey, you remember that time the ESA maintained a database of just about, like, every video game journalist who had ever received?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So there's that, too. But I believe that that was just, like, a let's knowingly construct a database with this information and then just fucking fail to realize that it will result in people gaining but so it's a different class of stupid than Bethesda or EA, but man, oh man, Look at this feast of dumb. Player privacy and security are the utmost importance. Really?
Bullshit.
Perhaps we could transition from a reckless, stupid, irresponsible publicly traded corporation that we dunk on the regular to America's foremost defender of stage magic?
Foremost defender? God damn it. Sure, man, let's go.
Former best friends and childhood pals turned mortal enemies. Stage magician and cam show enthusiast, Randy Pitchford, and guy with six-pack abs and rifle shill, Wade Callender, have reached a settlement. In a statement released by the court, upon review of all the evidence in the case, it is the opinion of counsel that the evidence exonerated Randy Pitchford from the allegations against him. All misunderstandings between the parties have been corrected, and apologies were exchanged. Because the parties are mutually bound by confidentiality, no additional statements will be forthcoming. In August, Callender filed a motion for contempt and requested sanctions against Gearbox, alleging discovery abuse because there were documents that were required as part of the lawsuit that had not been surrendered by Gearbox. Shortly after that filing, the court found that Callender's motion was sufficient, and the judge issued an order to show cause to Gearbox, demanding the company appear before the court with the documents on September 25th. And so it's sometime, I guess, shortly before that date, they must have entered into negotiations for this settlement, because they ended up not producing the required documents that would have exposed internal financials of Gearbox.
Sure.
So it's pretty obvious that what happened here is that the $300,000 that Gearbox alleges Wade Callender stole by maxing out his company credit card, that he's not paying that back at all.
Right.
And he definitely got some gravy on top of that. How much money do you think it takes to get a guy who is suing you, alleging that you are a secret collector of child pornography, to just shut up?
I mean, I'm going to say at least $3 million.
God, this fucking story. Here we are at this point, like 9 months after the thumb drive was left in the medieval times, and Gearbox is paying off Wade Callender. I don't even know, Rocky. I wonder if like a Gearbox employee on their way out from Gearbox who's privy to the details of this suit will ever leak details of this suit. Like, how much did Callender get?
Probably not, honestly.
I wonder if he, like, got anything more aggressive, like, say, a piece of Borderlands 3 money. So that way he's getting money in perpetuity. Like, it's not been a great week for Gearbox. Between that and the Troy Baker story, where Troy Baker was like, yeah, I didn't get brought in to do voice work for Borderlands 3 because Gearbox wanted to make sure that there was not any union work on Borderlands 3. Like, man, video games are bad. We have to make sure that we bust all the unions. This is not a union shop. And so even though Troy Baker makes sense to be on this project, no Troy Baker. Ugh. God. Rocky, do you have any better news about video games?
No, the Alpha Dream is dead. On October 2nd, Alpha Dream, best known for developing the Mario and Luigi RPGs, declared bankruptcy. Alpha Dream began as Mente Tomo, an interior and exterior finishing work company in 1991. Year it was born. 2001, it started developing video games and changed its name to Alpha Star Soft, led by former Square president Tetsuo Mizuno. Primarily a Japanese developer that worked with licensed IP, they were a middling studio. They developed games featuring the anime hamster Hamtaro, as well as the previously mentioned Mario and Luigi series. Their games, while few, were bright, lighthearted adventures with engaging and accessible gameplay. The studio was plagued with high development costs as a result of their projects, and that translated into a debt of over 400 million yen, or, $3.7 million, that the company could no longer control by March of 2018. So, Alpha Dream's gone, and that sucks, because I was really hoping for an announcement of an Alpha Dream game on Switch. And, like, hopefully it could have been original. But honestly, I would have been cool with, like, a Mario Luigi, maybe Wario Waluigi type game that could have showed up on Switch with, like, single button, like, controls where you control characters independently. Man, it was cool. Like, I played all the way to Paper Jam. And, I mean, I love Paper Mario. It's, like, one of my favorite games of all time. So, I'm biased. But, like, Alpha Dream is a good studio. I had very good years playing Mario and Luigi, Superstar Saga, Inside Luigi Story, Bowser Inside Story, and then Paper Jam, and now, you know, they're gone forever because they got in too much debt. They didn't do that well, which sucks. Sometimes that's the business, but rip Alpha Dream.
Man. Do you know what percentage of their output was for Nintendo?
I want to say it's pretty firmly 80%. They did 5 Mario Luigi games. They did 2 other games that released on Nintendo consoles, Tomato Adventure, and, their very first game, which I can't remember. Things like Coco Tenmo, but I don't think that's right. And then they did 2 Hamtaro games, which I'm not even entirely sure came out for Nintendo consoles, but I know they only released in Japan.
I'm curious as to why Nintendo never just bought them.
Honestly, maybe they didn't trust the leadership. I mean, for them to have this much debt over, like, the games that they had, like, the games were, like, you know, commercial successes, but they weren't blockbusters.
Right.
So, like, it's possible that, like, they didn't trust the people that were running the studio, even if the developers put out good work. Like, I really thought that this was the year that we got, like, a new Alpha Dream project, especially after, like, the year of Luigi. Also, Bowser Inside Story, and they did a remake for the 3DS. Nothing came of it. Like, it really sucks.
I know that there are studios that Nintendo providing leadership to has proven to create better financial stewardship of those studios. And obviously there are studios that have, like, very, very close working relationships with Nintendo, which say, I don't know, don't run themselves into the fucking ground.
Yeah, like HAL Laboratories.
Yep. You know, like, hell, for that matter, Game Freak.
True. Fucking Game Freak's been killing it.
Yeah. Being close to Nintendo, but not part of Nintendo, is by no means a death sentence. But there are also studios that work closely with Nintendo that could benefit from being converted into studios as opposed to independent game development companies. Because at the very top, there are issues with, like, balancing the company's books. I mean, what I hope is that a lot of these people who have been working in the game industry and have experience now with Nintendo IP and, you know, already have a working familiarity with, like, Nintendo style books and character requirements, that some of the ones who want to can land at Nintendo. Japan is home to a rising and burgeoning indie scene. It took much longer for an indie scene to develop in Japan than it did in the US.
Right.
The difference in business culture. But I'd love to see some folks who worked there show up at next year's Bit Summit, you know, and be like, hey, you know, we've formed a company. So I'd love for the folks who want to land at Nintendo to successfully land at Nintendo. The folks who want to go work someplace else, successfully do that. And then anybody who wants to, like, strike out on their own, you know, succeed at that too. So I guess you could say, Rocky, I have cowardly decided I hope everything works out for everyone. That's my perspective. But I tell you one thing. I think it's pretty clear that Jim Ryan does not want things to work out for Sean Layden.
Oh, no.
And that Sean Layden does not want things to work out for Jim Ryan.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Oh, so Sean Layden is leaving Sony. That's fair. That's an appropriate reaction. The statement from Sony reads, "It is with great emotion that we announce that Worldwide Studios Chairman Sean Layden will be departing Sony Interactive Entertainment. His visionary leadership will be greatly missed. We wish him success in future endeavors and are deeply grateful to him for his years of service. Thank you for everything, Sean. We hope you're able to find a human neck."
Wait, does it really say, we hope you're able to find a human neck?
No.
Okay.
I added that last part. That part was a lie.
Jesus.
So, I mean, he had been at Sony fucking forever, but there had been trouble in the ranks and trouble in the officers' corps. He eventually became the buck with which things stopped, but apparently there has been a civil war within Sony between Layden and Jim Ryan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Layden says he'll make a public statement soon on social media as to, what he'll be doing next or where he'll be going. Any guesses on that part, Rocky?
What Layden will say?
Yeah, like where Layden is going or what is he going to be doing?
So, and I hate this, but it would be really smart for Google, Apple, or even Amazon to scoop him up. That'd be a really good idea. Stadia has, bad positioning, which, Sean could help with. Apple could always use more help. And Sean definitely has a lot of contacts. Or Amazon, which I know is trying to, put together a, gaming platform, but I feel lacks a lot of the expertise, even though it has a lot of attention through Twitch. It'd be a good idea for him to end up at any of those places. I don't think Sean should go indie, though.
I don't think Apple needs him. The launch of Apple Arcade has gone really well. Apparently the user install base for Apple Arcade is rising rapidly. All of the controller support works exactly as advertised. A lot of the games have cross-save support, which wasn't even advertised. Start a game on your Mac, continue it on your iPhone, and back and forth. I think, and one of those companies that you mentioned, I can't comment on.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that Sean Layden would probably be a really good get for Google, because there's going to be a lot of relationships there where he has been that guy before for a lot of companies. Sitting down for an important conversation with a platform holder. Who's it going to be? Let's go sit down with Sean at Sony. He'd be a good guy for setting expectations and getting what they need from publishers for
Stadia.
A lot of the digging into what are Stadia's exclusives has kind of proven that there really isn't much in the way of Stadia exclusives at all. A lot of the stuff that they have is timed exclusives, and a lot of their advertising has just been hey guys, we have this also, and bragging about how you have something also and how your fundamental service structure isn't even stable, isn't a good a good look. Because if you're hey guys, you can play Cyberpunk 2077 here, and the platform isn't stable, that doesn't really hold water. That dog don't hunt. Yeah. Rocky, where would you rather play Cyberpunk next spring? Would you rather play Cyberpunk on a platform that can support it? Or would you rather play Cyberpunk on a shaky streaming-based platform that will just, have it also?
I feel like there's one right answer here.
You're correct. There is only one right answer. And Stadia has completely bungled all of their messaging in the last several months. Sean Layden is, if nothing, a good talking head. In contrast to Jim Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. Jim Ryan said backwards compatibility is stupid.
Yes, he did. He said, who would want to play old games?
That's really funny to me still. Jesus. Oh, man.
The pushing out of Sean Layden from Sony has had other impact. So the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan Asia and Sony Interactive Japan, Atsushi Morita, he's departed his role effective immediately. And Sony Interactive Entertainment CFO Kazuhiko Takeda will take over as president of Japan Asia. It is worth noting that that Morita was 60, which is the usual retirement age in Japan, but it's certainly not a hard and fast number. And a lot of times at major companies like Sony, you leave at 60 if you can. So if you're there till 61, 62, 63 because you're waiting for the grooming of a replacement, then that shit might happen. So someone just be all right guys, I'm out. There's no clear line of succession, but whatevs.
Fuck this shit,
right.
I'm out.
I mean, and there's been some weird shit going on with, between Layden and Ryan and Jim Codera as well over the last 18 months, where guys have been swapping titles back and forth and like weird shit like that. And this all seems to have really been touched off by Andrew House's departure in October of 2017. And it's one of those things where like there's obviously been like this war going on internally, which we haven't really gotten transparency into because Sony's very good at keeping that shit private. But the timing on this couldn't be worse because the PS5 is launching next year. And third-party nervousness around the launch of the PS5 is at a pretty high level. Apparently Layden and Jim Ryan had very different ideas about the platform. But because they have been struggling against each other, it has led to like conflicting and late information from Sony to third-party developers about development standards for the thing. Like, there are folks who've had their PS5 dev kits and were like, even though we have the hardware here in the building to work on a game, we can't really get something started because we keep on getting conflicting information from Sony. There's a quote from an anonymous developer that was given to Game Business Daily from somebody who works at one of the like big 5 third-party publishers who said, "This is the least amount of clarity we've had going into a new console this close to a transition. I believe that the global restructuring is exponentially exacerbating the already difficult process of transitioning to a new generation. And we're getting nervous. Read, very nervous." Rocky, how do you think that this is going to impact the launch of the PS5?
Well, honestly, I think it might be delayed, given like some of the other headlines that have been coming out of Sony lately. Like Sony dropped the price of PS Now, and expanded the titles that were in it, in addition to adding some flagship stuff like God of War. And, you know, Jim Ryan's not especially confident in the PS5, but, you know, he also kind of won. Like, he's the one that's still at Sony. Like, Charlene's not. And, oh, right, they took crossplay out of beta for some dumbass reason. So I think they're planning to lean on the PS4 a bit longer, which will, you know, bungle their release. Because, I mean, I guess they could still go for, like, holiday 2020, but I don't think they will. Not at this point. Like, I think they might actually push it to, like, spring 2021 because of, like, this shakeup.
That certainly wouldn't be a bad idea. The PS2 launched in Japan in March of 2000. A Q1 release is certainly not poison. The PS3 certainly wasn't helped by launching in November of 2006. Like, you know, like, a Q4 release is not necessarily something which, like, guarantees the success of a console. Like, the Nintendo Switch came out in Q1 and was just fine. Absolutely just fine. Like, there's even a lot of thinking now that, like, the conventional wisdom that, like, Q4 is the best time to release a hardware device is not right, and that Q1 is actually better because Q1 drives a lot of, like, expendable income purchasing because of tax refunds. I guess the one thing I would want to be true is if Sony did push this back because of this power struggle, I would want to make sure that, like, if the pushback is just 3 months, then those 3 months need to be meaningful. It means that they need to get shit aligned internally. It means that they need to have a cohesive internal philosophy around this box. It can't just be like 3 months because they're busy cleaning up the corpses. Those 3 months actually need to do something for their development partners and do something for their customers. Because in the grand scale of things, 3 months is not that much time. Like, if what I heard was like, okay, and in order to deal with the fallout of Layden versus Ryan, the PS5 is being pushed a year, I would find that to be more reasonable. Yes, Microsoft has made, like, tremendous inroads as far as, like, building a much more attractive player environment. The Xbox ecosystem is, without a question, like, a better place for a player to exist, all things being equal, than the PlayStation environment right now, just as far as, like, quality of life stuff goes. Like, the way friends lists are managed, the way services are managed, like, you can expect more as a customer on the Xbox platform. But that didn't necessarily translate to them eventually winning the generation. Like, there are still more than 3 times the amount of PS4s sold than Xbox Ones. So I think that Sony can, just based on the size of the PS4 install base, they could afford to wait a year.
They could coast, yeah.
You know, like, that would allow them to make sure that, like, everybody who's got their dev kits has stuff ready to go at launch. Like, I hate shitty launches, man. Like, when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, the launch lineup for those consoles was very much just, like, a bunch of cross-platform ports and, like, 2 bad games. It was like, play Assassin's Creed 4 on your PS3 or your PS4. Or, you know, like, play this here Need for Speed game on your Xbox 360 or your Xbox One. I don't know. It's a Need for Speed game. And then, like, the console exclusives at launch for this generation were absolutely terrible. It's like, over on the Xbox, you had, like, Rise, Son of Rome, which was fucking garbage. And then you had on the PS4, Killzone Shadowfall. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I feel like holding the PS5 back an additional year would mean that you launch with a stronger launch lineup. And, you know, people laugh about the strength of a launch lineup, but, like, what you release in the first 90 days of your console's life cycle is very, very important. And The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe really helped, you know, cement a market position for the Switch very, very early. The PS5 does not seem to be in any kind of way, like, substantially stronger or more powerful than the next Xbox consoles. So they're not going to win from a hardware perspective. It is not a better box. They have not built a better box. So, like, the way that whoever is going to win the next generation of consoles is going to win is going to do so based on the strength of their services, based on the strength of how they're treating their customers. Like, hey, you can do X, Y, and Z with the box that you have from us. And Sony has been so busy dicking around that I don't think that they have that messaging together. I don't believe that they're there to wow me as a consumer of, like, Sony stuff. Like, I'm actually hard-pressed to think of a reason to buy a PS5 until they have, like, a hot platform exclusive. Like, I will definitely buy the next Xbox immediately, regardless of whether there's immediately a hot platform exclusive. Although Phil Spencer has already said the console is going to be launching with the next Halo game. Which is already saying, like, console launches with hot exclusive, but, like, I can't think of a reason to buy a PlayStation until there is a hot game that I want. Like a single hot game that I want. Like,
I get that.
Yeah. As we reach the end of the PS4's life cycle and we take stock of, like, how the PS4 has treated us over the last, like, 5 years, have you gotten your money's worth, Rocky?
Out of PS4? Well, I mean, I have. Because, you know, I play Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy 14. And so, like, I have easily 1,000 hours between those two games alone. And I've been using PS Plus, and I got to fuck around with some other stuff, like the Resident Evil remaster and Iconoclasts. I did play Overwatch for a while, then I stopped before it became, like, insufferable. I don't know. I've been playing stuff on my PS4. I mean, I don't think I've played any of, like, the Sony exclusives. Like, I still haven't played, like, the God of War, which I feel bad about, but, like, I'll get to it eventually. And, like, Kingdom Hearts definitely turned me off to it pretty quickly. But, you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be cool. And there's another game that's coming out. Oh, yeah, Cyberpunk. But that's everywhere. But I don't have an Xbox, so whatever.
Sounds to me that you're happy with Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy 14.
Well, I mean, I am, and, like, you know, also Monster Hunter. Iceborne's actually good. Like, I'm actually kicking myself because I don't have a lot of time to play it right now, but, like, I do like whenever I do play it. Like, I have a good time.
Well, we'll definitely pay attention to this and keep up with it. It's not often that we see this kind of, like, turmoil surface publicly in a platform, and we definitely never see it, like, this close to a launch.
Yeah, it's really weird that it's so close to a launch.
crazy, crazy shit. So why don't we move into something which is as predictable as the rising and setting of the sun? Let's talk about what came out on Steam today.
All right, let's go. All right, how many games did we get on Friday, Brian?
On Friday, we received a scant 81 games.
It's not terrible.
So far today, we have had, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. 12 games.
Jesus Christ.
First up is Climb Out. You have fallen, and you must climb out.
Oh, no.
Climb as high as you can for as long as you can. Avoid obstacles and the ever-rising lava. Procedural levels. Compete against the world for highest score on leaderboards.
Wait, hold on. You never get out of the thing?
You never get out.
There's no win condition? What the fuck is it? I'm not going to yell at this game. I'm done. Like, cool. Sorry. It's called Climb Out. You never climb out.
That's right. It is also 99 cents.
Man, fuck off.
Next up is Easy Hentai Puzzle 2.
God damn it. Oh, I'm so tired.
This is a logical game in which...
No, it's not. There's no way it is. Whatever, go ahead. Read the thing.
This is a logical game in which the goal is to rearrange the tiles to get the final picture. Mature content description. In this game, there are girls in underwear and completely naked. Key features of game. The game has no censorship. Drawings of girls were drawn specifically for this game. For each puzzle, 5 game modes and how much the girl will be stripped.
Jesus.
Gallery. Achievements.
No press H to win.
No press H to win.
Okay, yeah, because there's achievements. That makes sense.
Next up is Easy Hentai Puzzle 2 Mode 1.
What? No! How? Whatever. Okay, whatever.
It reads, this add-on allows you to download all 12 arts of the first game mode with girls. Each art has an image resolution of 1920 by 1080.
There it is. There's the press H to win.
Yep. Basically, pressing H to win is a DLC.
They're evolving, Brian.
Yeah, so the core game itself, Easy Hentai Puzzle 2, is $1.79. There are 5 different mode DLCs. Yeah, as they said, like, depending on how much the girl is stripped. And each one of those DLCs is $7.19.
Wait, $7.19?
Well, Rocky, let me ask you, how horny are you?
Jesus Christ, Brian. You're telling me I gotta pay... Wait, hold on, I can do this. $45, $95, $35.95 to see each one of these images in various states of undress. Fuck this guy.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I'm guessing you are now less horny.
I am upset. I want to fight this guy.
Okay, so next up is Dungeons of the Fallen.
Okay, sure.
Weave spells, grab epic loot, kill hordes of enemy in an epic tale of the rise of the fallen king.
Okay, this guy is not allowed to use epic twice, alright? Like, this guy doesn't know what the epic... I'm not going to yell about the word epic today. I'm not going to do it. It's a rant. I'm going to save it for Christmas or something. You guys are in for a treat, but not today.
Also make sure you and your friends won't get crushed by merciless bosses. Features 40 unique spells and abilities. No class system. You can be a healing wizard, warrior, archer, depending on what you choose. 4-player couch co-op. The dungeons are designed to bring the most fun when you're playing together. Diablo-like randomly generated loot with different levels of rarity. Enchantment system. Resources gathered from monsters will help you customize your weapon or armor. immersive story. Follow the adventures of an army who dare to challenge the gods and learn about ancient events and the downfall and the resurrection of the fallen king. This game doesn't look like complete shit.
Sure.
It just mostly looks like shit.
That sounds about right.
Next up is Horus, First Trip. Before the first wedding night, the main character's bride was abducted. The long-awaited chance to become a man was lost too. Oh, fuck off. You know what? Fuck off. Fuck. We're done. We're done.
Yeah, we're done with Horus or whatever the fuck.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, Brian, you gotta read it. They have to know. They have to know. It's for the listeners.
God damn it. The game's goal, saving the princess. The player controls the main character with WAS keys. The genre, an arcade. Language, Russian/English. Of course. Yeah,
sure.
Fucking sure. The world tries to confuse and prank the hero. Sign that the hero's path make fun of the player, sometimes give adverse but very funny tips, and guide him. Oh, expect the game's fucking instructions to misguide you. That's good. That's great. That's super fun. Fuck off. Fuck off.
These fucking idiots. Oh my god.
Next up is Incoming Evil.
Sure, Evil's already here, God. Come on, man.
Let's see here. A first-person horror game, Incoming Evil. You'll explore an unsolved event about 3 missing people. No one knows what happened to them. The police could not solve the case. You are an experienced detective. The case is handed over to you.
Sure.
It looks to be incredibly dark. I am clicking on these screenshots. I have no idea what's going on in them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like, I am having to fuck with the brightness of my monitor. Like, seriously, like, the first screenshot I brought up, I just thought was like a black box. The game takes place in a forest area, which is too silent and creepy. Explore the places, solve the puzzles, face the facts, and find a way.
Face the facts,
Rocky. God damn. So, this is $4. What a good time. What else we got? Then this, like, unintelligible dark screen. Next up is Moisenland. Via a portal, you arrive in Moisenland. Your goal is to find another portal that will take you back home. Explore Moisenland and search for signs and objects that you will need to find it. You appear to control Shaggy in this video game?
Like Shaggy of R&B fame?
No, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo fame.
Oh, okay. For sure.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
So why they are using what is obviously like Unreal Store Shaggy. No, I'm sorry, this is Unity Store Shaggy. So like Unity Store Shaggy is like wandering around this environment and like then periodically being exposed to like puzzles from like what looks like something like Myst. Here's your features. Control your player with keyboard and mouse or touchpad. Get game menu with escape key. Oh, good. That's a feature. Pressing escape will get me the menu. That is a feature. Wow. Audio settings. Quit and save. How to...
No, fuck off. Those aren't... Okay. Fuck off.
How to play. Exit game. Windowed menu.
This is an awful description.
Windowed menu is a choice. is the developer's first game on Steam. Our last title today is Breaking Mad. The mad scientist made a series of unsuccessful experiments, and now dangerous monsters are walking around the world, which must be destroyed. A dynamic side-view shooter in which you as a mad scientist shoot monsters that were generated by unsuccessful experiments. More than 30 difficult levels will make you strain and choose your routes wisely, firing from behind cover and monitoring the number of rounds. In the end, you will find the most difficult test in the face of the television boss. Game features 30 levels, the boss, difficulty, beautiful pixel art, and responsive management. Nothing too wild about the system requirements. The publisher Zoldanex appears to have out, looks like, about 75 odd games on Steam, and most of them are priced at $1.99 or less. Breaking Mad is currently 67 cents. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it is everything that you expect of a 67-cent game. So, good times. Ugh. Rocky, is that a show?
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. This is our show. It's called Impossible Coin. We do it every week. Tegan's not here. Tegan's usually here, but, she's elsewhere on a very secret, important mission.
That secret, important mission is government-mandated community service.
Oh my god. Anyways, guys, if you liked what you heard this week, or, even if you didn't, leave us a review. Tell us what we're doing, or how we are doing. You can leave it wherever you found the podcast, whether that be on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Also, there's music at the beginning and end of this podcast produced by our friend Big Soch. The music in the middle is produced by our friend Kevin N.A. Kevin N.A.'s work is available on Spotify at KevNNA. And Big Soch's work is available at SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/BigSochNJ. But you can also talk to the man that made the music at Hillary_Swank on Twitter. Our shirt and logo are designed by Lauren Moran. You can follow her on Twitter at Lauren Moran to keep up with her art. Or you could consider donating to her Patreon, because honestly, she deserves it. She puts out the real shit. We're also on social media. Brian's on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. And Tegan is usually on Tumblr. But, she's currently occupied. But it's all Impossible Coin if you ever want to get at us. And that's the show. I think we're done.
Yep. Cool. Well, then, thanks for hanging out, and peace.
Later.
It's official.